Brothers and sisters, one of the healthiest things you can do for yourself is staying hydrated. And you know what I'm talking about. You go to your basketball game, football game, pro wrestling events, and suddenly you get a little parched. Well, one of the best ways that you can keep yourself safe is using Liquid IV. See, Liquid IV is a hydration stick that you can pour into 16 ounces of water and immediately get more efficiently hydrated than water alone. Okay? 12 delicious, refreshing flavors, all of your essential B vitamins, including B3, B5, B6, B12, even vitamin C. 3 times the electrolytes as traditional sports drinks. It's made with premium ingredients, non-GMO, free from gluten, dairy, soy, all that good stuff there. Listen, I'm telling you right now, folks, Liquid IV has changed my life. It's something that I use on a regular basis because I'm always on the go. I gotta stay hydrated. You gotta stay hydrated. Liquid IV has your back. It'll keep you exactly that way, hydrated. But don't just take my word for it. I want you to try it out. And because of that, if you head over to liquidiv.com right now, you can put anything that you want in your cart, and then at checkout, use the promo code Duke Loves Rasslin. No spaces in that now. Duke Loves Rasslin. Going to save you 20% on your entire order. That's how much I care about your hydration. That's how much I want you to check out Liquid IV. So what are you waiting for? Shop better hydration today. Visit liquidiv.com. That's right. Brothers and sisters, it is your main man, the Duke, with breaking news. WWE and ESPN have reached a landmark agreement, which will see all non-NXT premium live events will be broadcasted on ESPN platforms in the United States starting in 2026. So WrestleMania, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, you name it. All premium live events will be broadcasted across ESPN platforms in the United States of America. As expected, the internet wrestling community is up in arms, and I'm telling you right now, WWE, on behalf of the IWC, you're in big trouble, mister. How dare you do what a business is supposed to do and make blockbuster deals, make as much money as you possibly can, and expand your ability and your reach throughout not only the United States but the world. How dare you, WWE? It doesn't matter if you have a fiduciary responsibility to make as much money as possible. It doesn't matter that this deal is over $1 billion, which will allow you to invest in more talent, which will allow you to expand upon your live events and deliver even higher quality product. It doesn't matter. The folks in the IWC, especially on X, are furious. And we're not going to take it. We will tweet angry. We will make memes. We will let you know as we watch angrily that WWE has no business doing what a business is supposed to do.
You're locked in.
Look at what we have here, folks.
To the only show that matters.
The cream of the crop.
Duke Loves Rasslin.
And there is no one that does it better than
your host.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
The Duke.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Welcome back to Duke Loves Rasslin, the show about pro wrestling and everything else. I'm telling you, folks, I'm telling you right now, the IWC is angry. WWE being a successful business is just too much. It's too much. It's greedy. TKO, they purchased WWE for $9 billion. How dare they make business decisions that ensure they will not only recoup on their $9 billion investment, but that they'll actually make even more money on top of that, make an actual profit for themselves and their investors. This is preposterous. Has this ever been done before? Has a business ever actually focused on making money? Like, this is crazy. Folks, this is crazy. It's pro wrestling. You're supposed to fail and go out of business. You're supposed to, close the doors so the wrestlers don't have a place to work anymore. Don't you know that? Don't you know the fans are not supposed to have a diverse set of channels and apps where they can watch your product? Fans of all income levels. When you have NXT on CW, which is over-the-air TV, all you need is literally an antenna. When you have Raw, which is on Netflix, that's a streaming service that people have to pay for. When you have SmackDown on the USA Network, which is available on, whether you're talking cable or satellite, Sling, these things. And now you have the audacity to put the non-NXT PLEs on ESPN. If you have ESPN in your cable or satellite package, you're going to get all of that included. If you don't, you pay the $30 a month so you can not only get all WWE PLEs, but you also get the entire slate of ESPN programming. Don't you know that this is wrong? A business is not supposed to be a business and make money and make it possible for as many people as possible to be able to consume the product. Don't you know that, WWE? This is IWC logic, which means that it's no logic at all. I can't even say this stuff with a straight face, folks. It's so ridiculous. The whole thing is so ridiculous. People are online doing these dissertations about this. They are shocked that WWE has the audacity to continue to innovate. This is literally a thing, folks. I don't know where some of these goofballs come from. Why wouldn't a business do what a business is supposed to do? Why wouldn't you do that? They want the WWE to not expand for some strange reason. And I just don't understand that. Because here's the reality situation. Somebody is consuming this stuff. Somebody's consuming it. Somebody's fascinated and satisfied enough to continue to tune in, to spend money at the live events, to buy the merchandise. Somebody's doing it. Netflix subscriptions through the roof. Peacock increased their subscriptions since doing business with WWE. But somehow, some way, it is unheard of for WWE to continue to expand and find other networks to do business with. You have NXT Evolve on Tubi, which is owned by Fox, by the way. This is terrible. How dare they? How dare the WWE make themselves available across multiple networks and apps? I'm telling you right now. People are losing their ever-loving minds. And I just want to say to all of these humanoids who are carrying on about this thing, you're going to watch. That whole FOMO thing, fear of missing out, you're going to watch. You're stomping your feet. You're tweeting angry. You're trying to, who could say the most clever one-liner or come up with the best meme, and then, you high-five each other online and all that good stuff. Hey, Billy Bob. Hey, is Sally Stinky Feet 123? Hey, Johnny Breadbasket 361. It's ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous, the whole thing. I'm here in a come-to-Jesus moment for the entire IWC, complaining about WWE continuing to do what a business is supposed to do, which is make money. I'm here to just encourage every single one of you that have complained about this to do something very important. Turn up the volume. Tell everybody to quiet down. You ready? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Shut your face. Literally, shut your face. You miserable child of God, shut your face. Please. The WWE is here to make money, just like every business. If you have a problem with them expanding and making themselves available to more people, don't watch. No one's making you subscribe. No one's making you tune in. Go watch some of the other nonsense that's out there. Like the goofball over there down in Jacksonville, right? Who continues to do goofball things, right? Go watch that product. I hear it's fantastic. They draw so many people. They have so many stars. I hear it's an incredible show down there in Jacksonville. Go watch that nonsense. I'm not watching it, but you can. I encourage you, go watch it, please. The WWE is great business, and it is wise for every single network to try to do some kind of deal with them. It just makes sense. Somebody said to me the other day, well, their audience is shrinking. They only have about, like 3 million people in the United States. And I'm like, okay, let's say that's true. Let's say the WWE audience literally is about 3 million people. That's 3 million people who are completely engaged and will follow wherever the WWE goes. That's 3 million people who are responsible for the WWE right now, in this very moment, maintaining at least 5 separate billion-dollar deals. At least. Let me tell you something. I don't care what kind of business you have. If you can get 3 million people to matter that much, that everyone is literally, fussing and fighting and having a war with each other just to do business with you. They're trying to offer you the most so they can get some business out of you. Hey, I think that's a pretty good deal. I think any business would want that. There are too many experts out there, folks. Too many self-appointed experts who don't know anything at all. It's fascinating. It's completely fascinating. Listen, there was a time in life where most people had some form of retail experience, right? Most people, if their first job wasn't like babysitting or dog walking or, the paper route or something like that, most people worked at a mall. They worked at a store where you had to sell stuff, right? Unless you were in the food service industry. The alternative was that you work someplace where you were responsible for dealing with customers and selling them a product. A lot of folks end up becoming some form of leadership, team lead, assistant manager, right? Regional manager, GM, vice president, president, whatever. People who have ever in their lives been responsible for a business, in growing a business, most importantly, be responsible for the numbers, be responsible for figuring out how to keep the budget reasonable, maintain a workforce, most importantly, generate enough sales to turn a profit. Most people who have lived that life on any scale generally don't react like most of the goofballs that you see online. You can always tell who's never been responsible for a business just by the way that they talk. Well, this is greedy. This is very greedy. $30 for the ESPN app. This is greedy. As if the WWE is not supposed to recoup on their investment. Right? TKO buying WWE for $9 billion. They're not supposed to do that. They're not supposed to make billion-dollar deals everywhere so they can get their money back. And they're actually ahead of schedule, quite frankly, at the rate they're going, which is fascinating to me because $9 billion is a lot of money. They're making that money back quick. And on the ESPN side, you act as if they're not supposed to make money. ESPN is such a powerful brand. And you know, they just signed with the NFL. They're getting, what is it, Red Zone, the NFL Network. ESPN is going to be running all that. Are they not supposed to charge you a fair rate so they can recoup some of that investment money as well? I don't understand it. I legitimately, folks, I do not understand. Who are all these people that never had real responsibility in their lives? Because clearly that's the case. When you read some of their comments or when you hear some of the things that they're saying, clearly that's the case. Completely out to lunch. The whole lot of them. And I'm going to tell you right now, I see this stuff and I giggle. I giggle. I giggle because it's all entertainment to me. You're going to sit there and stomp your feet. You're going to complain. You're going to tweet angry. You're going to do all these things, but you're going to watch. And you're going to show up. And you're going to spend money. You're going to buy the merchandise. You're going to weigh in because everybody else is doing it. There are very few people who can walk away from wrestling at this point. Very few. You could put it down for a period of time, but you're always going to pick it up because you love it. And I'm talking WWE in particular. Call it what it is, man. We saw the return of Brock Lesnar, which, welcome back, Brock. It's been, 2 years? Guy's finally back. Very excited. You know, he comes back. He's beating up on John Cena, which is what he always does when he comes back, which is pretty awesome. And it really makes me scratch my head. Because, you know, people are following this Janelle Grant lawsuit. It's a civil lawsuit, which means it's not criminal. This is literally just, you know, you're suing because you're trying to get some money, which is okay. Janelle Grant alleges that Vince McMahon, you know, he breached a agreement that they had together, an NDA, and she feels she was taken advantage of by Vince, which I think is reasonable. As a chairman of the board, and at one point he was the president and CEO. He's Vince McMahon. He's everything. She was an employee. They entered into a consensual sexual relationship with one another, but she feels she was taken advantage of, and she has provided some evidence, and they got to go through the legal system. I get it. That's fine. We have no issues with that. She's suing Vince, and she's suing the company. Fantastic. In the documents, Janelle Grant points out that Brock Lesnar is someone who Vince McMahon was negotiating a new contract with. And Grant alleges that Vince told her that he promised Brock that Brock could fool around with her if he signs a new deal. And Grant alleges that Vince had her text Brock a naughty video. Let's call it that. Grant alleges that Brock responded, and they entered into what we would call today sexting. And Grant pursued making plans with Brock to actually act on some of the things that they were sexting about. In the lawsuit, Grant states Brock Lesnar did not actually make good on their plans 3 times. He blew this woman off 3 times. That's what the lawsuit says. And this is from Grant, right? So I just want to make sure we're comparing notes here and we're getting this clear. And you know, this is Duke Loves Wrestling. We just look at the truth. We call it right down the middle. It is what it is. I got no dog in this fight. I just believe in the Constitution. I believe in the truth. Got to look at all the facts, right? If we were on the jury, we'd have to look at all the facts. So why can't we do that outside? Some lady at work starts texting naughty things to you, and she's the boss's assistant, basically. And you're in the middle of a contract negotiation, and you're supposed to be this big hulking person who's supposed to be a man's man and all this good stuff here. What do? He starts playing along because, you know, it's kind of weird, but this is what it is. But he doesn't go through with it because clearly, I'm assuming, if any of this is true, I'm assuming the guy was not comfortable with moving forward with something like that. What a lot of you folks seem to miss here, if this stuff is true, Brock is being sexually harassed by Grant in those moments. Now, Grant alleges that this is at the direction of Vince, and that's, hey, okay. But it doesn't negate the fact that she was inflicting on Brock. And in the end, Brock would not move forward with these grandiose plans that she initiated. So given, and this is all coming from the lawsuit, folks, given these facts, why on earth would Brock Lesnar not be allowed to continue to work and make money for himself and his family? Because every time he steps foot out there, new merchandise gets put together, so he gets to make more money on top of his contract. He gets to increase his value. Brock Lesnar is one of the top earning box office attractions in pay-per-view history. I know WWE's rebranded pay-per-views as PLEs. But Brock Lesnar, and I'm talking to anybody, boxers, MMA fighters, what have you, pro wrestling, Brock Lesnar is one of the top earners. He's one of the biggest draws in sports and entertainment history. So why shouldn't this person be allowed to continue to do their job? Well, she described him in the lawsuit. Okay. She's not suing Brock Lesnar. Grant never even accused Brock Lesnar of committing any crimes. And what is described in the lawsuit, there's no crime there. Tell me again why this guy can't do his job. Well, it's sleazy to let him come back because he was in the lawsuit. I completely out to lunch. These IWC humanoids, just out to lunch. So, just so we're making sure we're clear here, right? You want a guy who's not being sued, who has not been accused of committing a crime, has not been arrested, charged, like literally nothing, nothing at all. You want that person to somehow, some way, not be allowed to make a living in the job that he legitimately is an expert in and a legend in, while at the same time, you continue to tune in and watch, actively discuss online, and therefore market for his employer, the WWE, which is literally being sued by the woman in the lawsuit. I'm telling you right, these folks are out to lunch. You want to punish the guy that's not in the wrong legally, but you want to continue to consume the company that's being accused of being in the wrong. I wouldn't trust any of you to do anything for me. Don't listen. If my life was on the line, I'm in big trouble if I have to depend on any knucklehead who has a problem with Brock Lesnar being back on WWE TV. There is something wrong with you, in my opinion. Seriously. A person who has not been accused of committing a crime, who's not being sued, not been arrested, not been convicted, nothing. Nothing. And you have a problem with them being allowed to do their job, but you're still consuming the company being sued. I'm telling you right now, I would not trust you to do anything for me. I wouldn't even trust you to hold the door for me because I don't think that you're a person that can make logical decisions in life. Something's wrong with you. I would be concerned if any of you were serving on a jury. Something is wrong with you. No wonder there's so many accidents on the road because a lot of you have your driver's license. You guys make poor decisions. It's clear. Absolute, complete, utter nonsense. It's nonsense. But this is the IWC way. I'm telling you, folks. It's just, it boggles my mind, the whole thing there. There is a lot of, and we've seen this because of the pandemic. It's like people's brains have been turned to mush with a lot of this stuff. And they just say the most irrational, nonsensical things consistently. And it really makes you scratch your head. We had the passing of Hulk Hogan. And shout out, Devon and the Duke, show that I do with WWE Hall of Famer Devon Dudley. New episode will be up next week. We just had Hogan's funeral and a whole lot of stuff going on. Big man, hey, give that man a break. Let him get his thoughts together. So many of you gave positive feedback, and thank you for that. Because Devon, pointed out that he forgave Hulk. And he leaned on his Bible verses and things like that to help justify his position. Hulk Hogan said some very racist things and expressed racist philosophy on more than one occasion. It's clear that this was a belief that this man harbored to a certain degree. Did he change? I don't know. I don't know Hulk Hogan. I'll never forget what he did and how it made me feel. It's pretty rotten. But a person died. A person who was my childhood hero at one point. So all I do is offer condolences to his family and his loved ones, and condolences to other people in the same boat as me who grew up idolizing that person and who were hurt by what that person ultimately revealed themselves to be, which was a racist. He literally said, I am a racist. Can't hide from that. That's what Hogan said. Right? So I'm not going to forget that. But the man is dead. And I'm not going to dance on his grave. And it did hurt me. And I do feel bad about the fact that that guy died before he ever was able to fully redeem himself. And hearing some of the things that his daughter, Brooke Hogan, is saying, and how she's had to estrange herself from her family, well, from her parents. She has her own family now. She has her own children. She has a husband, and they have their own life, make their own money. They never had to depend on Hulk or anything like that. I feel bad for them. I feel bad for Nick Hogan, who's appeared in WWE numerous times at tributes and things like that, because he was very close to his dad, just like Brooke was, until they were estranged. I feel bad for those folks. That's compassion. Some of you have a problem with compassion. And I'm just going to tell you right now That's your cross to bear in life. I don't roll that way. I can compartmentalize life. I can have a problem with the way that you have conducted yourself, things that you've said, how you've treated others, how you treat me. I can have a problem with that and be very upset with you over that. And yet I could still show you empathy and compassion. And the extension of that empathy and compassion doesn't have anything to do with you, and it has everything to do with me. That's who I am as a human being. Just because you are a lowlife, scumbag, racist, jackass, all the buzzwords, just because you conduct yourself that way, that doesn't mean I'm going to stoop down to your level. I'm not going to do that. Treat people how you want to be treated, regardless of who they are. Now, that doesn't mean that you allow yourself to stay in the line of fire and continue to get hurt by somebody who does not have your best interest at heart. Don't misunderstand me there. I'm not a fool. You identify yourself as a racist. I'm not going to keep sniffing around you and trying to be your buddy. Stay the hell away from me, racist. You're a jerk. But if you die, I'm not going to say, well, yeah, good for that, or damn him, or nobody mourn his death because he was no good. That's your problem. That's not my problem. And I'm just going to tell you right now, folks, with all due respect, I do not care how you feel about it. I'm talking about how I feel in this moment. How you feel is immaterial to me. So some of you talking all that nonsense out there, and that's exactly what it is in my opinion. It's nonsense. If your heart is so rotten that you can't have any compassion or empathy for the fact that somebody just died, then good for you. Someday you'll have to sort that out with whatever God that you pray to or what have you, or maybe you don't. And that would be between you and them. But what I got going on over here doesn't work like that. I don't celebrate death on anybody. I celebrate life. I don't celebrate death. So, just want to make sure that we're clear on that, because the topic, it's ongoing, man, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. Brooke Hogan has stated that she wants an autopsy done on her father. It's claimed that he had advanced cancer of some sort, which ultimately led to him going into cardiac arrest or what have you, and that's what caused him to die. Brooke Hogan is like, let's do an autopsy. Why would you try to, just pass it off as that's the cause of death without doing an autopsy? And I agree with Brooke. I think that's smart. I think you should always do an autopsy just to verify. That's a lot of pain and anguish. I feel bad for that family, all of them. When you lose a loved one, especially a loved one who is part of an extended family that wasn't the original family that you were born into, in this case, Hogan had a whole different wife, there's going to be a lot of finger pointing. There's going to be a lot of he said, she said. There's going to be a lot of hard feelings. And Jesus, when you talk about an estate that has to be split up, and you got to figure out who gets what. I got a lot of respect for Brooke Hogan, who said, listen, I don't want any of it. Whatever he's worth, $25 million, $50 million, $2 billion, I don't want any of it. I got my own. I don't need it. Leave me alone. I respect that. Because anyone who's ever seen an estate get dealt with, it's years, it's a lot of legal fees, and it's a lot of family fighting with family. And that is just awful. It's awful. I saw an interview with Brooke Hogan on TMZ, and I encourage everybody to check out TMZ. You just Google TMZ Brooke Hogan. You'll see it, the latest results there. But I saw a clip where she was talking to Harvey, and she said she's not sleeping. She's barely eating. And she's got kids to raise. She's got a business to run. She's got a husband to be with. But she's going through a lot. She's lost her dad, who she was, for 99% of her life, very, very close with. I'm not supposed to have empathy for that? I'm telling you, listen, shut your face. Every single one of you that have the audacity to talk down on empathy. I do not care how you feel about that. I don't care. I really don't care. Because you're rotten, in my opinion. Simple as that. You're rotten. And I'm going to tell you right now, every single one of you, and it's happened. Listen, I've been doing this for almost 10 years, folks. I've gotten death threats. I've been doxxed. I've been threatened more times than I could count. It's amazing the nonsense that you go through for having the audacity to put out a wrestling podcast where, I share my opinion, but for the most part, I'm interviewing people who are literally the subjects. So I'm getting firsthand information from the subject, and people go crazy when they don't like what they hear. And some of these folks through the years have passed away. You know what you'll never find? You'll never find me saying anything negative about somebody like that. I'm not dancing on your grave, man. No matter how rotten you were towards me or other people that I've seen, I'm not dancing on your grave. Why am I going to do that? I love life. I don't celebrate death. So if you're a person that is so mean-spirited that you can't just say, hey, God bless, condolences to whomever, then good for you. But stay over there. Leave me the hell alone, please. Stay where you are. Whatever's rotten and whatever, I don't want that spreading over here. It's like a sickness. And I'm going to tell you ahead of time here, when your time comes, condolences to your loved ones. Okay? I'm going to show you compassion before it even happens. We got to get out of this mindset of being so negative to the point where you can't even see the forest from the trees. I don't understand why anyone would complain about WWE providing more opportunity for people to consume the product, especially when no one is forcing you to consume the product. It's a choice. I do not understand it. Listen, I'm not a fan of AEW, which is fascinating because there's a lot of people in AEW who I have helped. Some of those people I've actually helped get in the company. Sometime in the future, there are going to be books written, and you're going to hear about some of the things that I've been responsible for and the ways that I've helped people, whether it be helping them put together their electronic resume, making sure that they stay on top of dates and tryouts, or connecting them with such and such, and giving my opinion, providing information, scouting reports. It is fascinating. I've helped a lot of people who are in that company in various ways. But I don't like the product. I don't like the way it's managed. I don't like the leadership. I'm just not a fan. So you know what I did? I stopped watching. That's it. Just stop watching. It's garbage. That doesn't mean that I don't still care about my friends who are there and even other people I don't even know. People who I generally enjoy their quality of work, but they're working in a place that presents the product in a manner that doesn't fit my taste. So I just leave it alone. You folks can't do that? Stop it. Speaking of stop it, I'm gonna put something out there since we're on the subject here, because I'm going to tell you right now. Is the AEW snake up to their slithering ways again? That's a question that I'm going to put out there. I'm going to pose that. And we'll end on this question. The Hurt Syndicate, which is MVP, Shelton Benjamin, and Bobby Lashley, used to be called the Hurt Business in the WWE, and they had, Cedric Alexander with them. Cedric is now in TNA. But the other three, they're in AEW. Allegedly, they signed big contracts and all that. You look at the ratings for their segments, and they're some of the highest rated. You look at the social media buzz, and they're generating the most clicks and what have you. People are talking about them because they're awesome. They're fantastic. The closest thing that we will ever have to the Four Horsemen. And I love the Four Horsemen. And I really love the Hurt Business. So the Hurt Syndicate, I don't like the way they're booked. I don't like the way they're presented. And I think it's pretty clear that they don't necessarily like the way they're booked or being presented either. But a string of negative articles have been put out about them, claiming that they're refusing to lose to certain people, such as Speedball Mike Bailey, who is just, let me tell you something. If you ever wanted to develop a pro wrestler who was absolutely the complete opposite of anything that I would find entertaining, Speedball Mike Bailey has got to be pretty close to the top of that list. I think his stuff is the you-know-whats. Awful. I just don't like the way that he works. I don't like his gimmick. Everything about it doesn't make sense to me. Kudos to this guy for being an overachiever in my eyes, because a guy that looks like that and works like that somehow, some ways on TV, damn it, congratulations, brother. You must have found your audience, or you must have hustled the money mark to pay you to do what you do, because what you do is legitimate. I would not put anybody out there to lose to a guy like that. That's just my opinion. I don't have to like it. It's not for me. But I damn sure don't like it. Terrible, in my opinion. But the press says that, the Hurt Syndicate, they don't want to lose to somebody like him. They don't want to lose to FTR. I enjoyed the revival in the WWE. I can't stand FTR. I think this Dax guy, the bald-headed one, I think this Dax guy is an IWC humanoid bastard. That's exactly what he is, in my opinion. Who just happens to also be a wrestler. I think he enjoys being an IWC goofball. And just some of the things that he says, it just really makes me scratch my head, because it's like, bro, you and your tag team partner, you have the skill to put on some fantastic matches, and you've done it. Why are you online just talking complete garbage all the time? Just complete garbage. That's who he is. He's a whiny little bastard, too. He really is. He's always complaining about something. And at the end of the day, what it comes down to is that, look, man, you're probably not as good as you think you are, and you never will be. So there's that. But I wonder if the snake has anything to do with this negative press. I was talking to a friend of mine who's well accomplished, and, they posed that question, and it got me thinking, like, damn, that's a good question. Between the bald-headed, bushy mustache humanoid bastard known as Dax, and then we got the snake, Will Washington, I can see how this negativity could be spread about the Hurt Syndicate. Because let me tell you something right now. MVP is not going to sit back and hold his tongue on anything. And I respect that. Shelton Benjamin, I think he's a little bit more reserved, but he's another one, though. He's a man. And Shelton Benjamin could just whoop just about anybody's ass. So you're not going to play games with him either. And Bobby Lashley's Bobby Lashley. And I've said this. When I think of a pro wrestler who, if I could be anybody, this is like my current superhero, that's Bobby Lashley. That's how much I revere that man. I have all the time in the world for Bobby Lashley. I think he's fantastic. in front of the camera and behind the camera. He's just as good of a human being behind the camera as he is a badass in front of the camera. I really like Bobby Lashley a lot. So it's not a surprise to me that people would be spreading negativity about them. And I wonder if the slithering snake has anything to do with it. Would not surprise me. I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but I'm just, somebody brought it up to me, and it's not something that would surprise me. AEW continues to be a mess, which is why they ran off most of their potential fan base and the casuals who were around for a little while. I saw that Andrew Baidala, this guy, he's a big shot athlete, right? Nice guy. Somebody said he's the Mr. Rogers of wrestling media, and I think that's accurate. Likable guy, but sometimes he just says things so off the wall that you got to wonder what the hell's going on here. And I can't put my finger on. I think he's clever enough to be trolling half of the time. Maybe he's not, because, he is an athlete. He could have taken too many headshots. But I think he's clever or not. I think he's clever enough, to be trolling half of the time. But he said, AEW should invest in these content creators and give them more access and let them come around and be at the live shows, at least the pay-per-views, and live stream and do things, because some of these folks, especially the reaction folks, some of these folks have engaged followings, and it might be helpful to AEW, especially during this period of time where they could use all the help they can get. On the surface, that is a valid proposal. I get it. It makes sense. The problem with this Baidala guy, and I'm going to tell him to his face, by the way, the problem with this Baidala guy, is it Baidala, Baidala, Dala, I don't know. The problem with this guy is that he completely ignores the fact that the AEW product is in the toilet. It's not very good. And it's not very good because they focused on the key demo as opposed to presenting a diverse enough product booked in a manner that is diverse enough to attract a diverse audience and maintain a diverse audience. Tony Khan loves angsty, probably a little not preferred by women, even though they would love to be, white males. The key demo, right? That's who they market to. That's who they always market to, and that's who they stood firm and said that's our bread and butter. And I've always said you can only squeeze so much out of those pockets, man. You got to diversify. And yes, they have more people of color on their roster, but what are they doing with them? Is there anything of substance happening? You get a future Hall of Famer like Bobby Lashley, and dare I say, Shelton Benjamin is also a future Hall of Famer. You get two guys like that, and you just put tag belts on them? The first night in the company, Bobby Lashley should have destroyed everybody and been the world champion. And he should be dominating. Shelton Benjamin should have the next title below that. Dominating. And you build up your defender of AEW to eventually topple Lashley, eventually topple Benjamin, the next one. Spit, rinse, repeat. It's not rocket science, it's pro wrestling. What the hell are we talking about here? And that would have attracted enough people, probably myself included, to give the product more of a chance. Because you burned everybody, Tony. So, those guys know it. And I have a sneaking suspicion that they've told Tony Khan to his face that he's a complete moron with the way he's booked them. And that they're not satisfied with the booking and it needs to change. And he's placating them with the tag belts. But who the hell wants those garbage tag belts held by the young nonsense bucks and FTR? Nobody wants those titles. At least there's some prestige being put on those titles. I'll give that credit. At least some people who actually are worth putting belts on. But these guys, they're single stars, man. They need to be in the singles picture. Give me a break. It's not a surprise that this negativity is coming out about these guys. Because you have a lot of insecure, goofy people in that company who do insecure, goofy things. And Dax, I'm talking to you. That's my opinion. But is the Snake involved? Because the Snake, he's effective, man. This guy, he's a content creator. He's got all the people fooled, right? The Snake. And I'm not talking about my man Jake, who's a friend of the show, been on the show and all that. I'm talking about, Big Willie Washington, huh? I'm talking about that guy. Is he involved in this? I wouldn't be surprised. That's all I'm saying. Now, if he's not involved in this, William, let me be the first to say, if you're not involved, then kudos to you. And I would say to everybody, leave Will alone. He's not involved. But I wouldn't be surprised if he is. Because it's so nasty, and it's so ridiculous, and it's so off base, and it's so slimy that it certainly is reminiscent of the type of nonsense that guy is involved in, or at least has been in the past, based on what I know. You're gonna literally trash the three people who could probably save that company. You take the Hurt Syndicate and you take Mercedes Moné, you make a super faction with them and just let them run wild. 1 year of that, while you build who's gonna topple them, and you're making money hand over fist. Tony Khan, the fact that you're not, look, we don't have to say much about Tony. You can't even sell in Jacksonville. People don't buy AEW merchandise in Jacksonville. Go to any Walmart in or around Jacksonville, and you tell me what the AEW merchandise is out there, especially compared to WWE. There's no comparison. Nobody wants to buy that crap. It's inferior. Not because the talent is inferior, but it's because the management is inferior. So the trickle-down effect of that is it's a damaged brand. People don't want it. How come AEW didn't do an ESPN deal? Because nobody watches AEW. They don't want that crap. AEW is not a family-friendly product. I go to WWE shows, I see families, man. I see generations of people. I see harmony, togetherness. Every time I've gone to a WWE event, I've walked away with new friends and all that good stuff. AEW, give me a break. It's a members-only club, and it's dwindling year after year. And don't get me started on MJF. That's a whole other story I can get into with this goofball who had the audacity, and I'm going to keep bringing this up, who had the audacity to downplay the transatlantic slave trade and compare that to the Holocaust and try to act as if the Holocaust somehow was worse than slavery. Right? The oppression Olympics. Trying to pit two communities against each other because he's a moron. He's an absolute moron, MJF. But that's the person that Tony Khan had the audacity at one point in a meeting to say, well, what about MJF? There's a marketing company that shared some data with Tony Khan. They were like, listen, man, Jade Cargill, she's hot right now. We think she can draw more people of color come to your product. You did the thing with Rick Ross, Action Bronson. Keep leaning into the hip-hop thing. This could work. Diversify. We can get some brands on board. This is how this can impact your company positively. It can work, blah, blah, blah. Let me say it again. It can work. It's already working. You see these growth. They did a whole study. And Tony Khan allegedly said, well, what about MJF? That's what we're running with right now. which was just complete nonsense. It's foolish. And then you wonder why Jade Cargill left. And you wonder why you stopped seeing as many rappers in that company. And then they put MJF with Max Caster and Bowens, and you saw how well that got over. This is Tony Khan booking. So I'm not surprised that negative press is coming out about the Hurt Syndicate. Those are grown men who are over, who can draw, who can set up shop anywhere in this nation, put on matches, and people are going to show up and spend money to see it. That's who they are. Not undersized, bushy mustache having, crybabies online, because God forbid somebody told you you're not as good as you think you are, Dax. You couldn't shine any of their shoes. You couldn't do it. You shouldn't even be in the same sentence as the Hurt Syndicate, Dax. I'm not even talking about the one with hair. Mr. Flash's gun around. I'm not even talking about him. That's a whole other story with that goofball. I'm talking to the crybaby. I have a sneaking suspicion that you are at least participating in the negativity, Dax. That's my opinion. But I wonder if the snake is involved as well. I don't know. I digress. Duke Loves Rasslin on Facebook, on Twitter, DukeLovesRasslin@gmail.com. As always, let me know what you think. Send in your questions, your comments, all that good stuff. Listen, we are in the top 5% of all listened to podcasts in the world. It is incredible. It's incredible. I mean, last year we hit the 10% mark. Now we're in the 5%. Hey, and we ain't stopping. The numbers have been greater than they've ever been. Obviously, testament to the friend of ours podcast, Big Vito LaGrasso. We did that thing. That was a good time. Devon and the Duke doing that thing. That's a good time. And then every now and then I squeeze in this Duke Loves Rasslin thing. You know, we had that Savannah Bananas episode, which was fantastic. Mara Sade, who is killing it in TNA, right? Ruthie J, which I'm telling you right now, keep your eyes out on Ruthie. If you're not following Ruthie J, folks, you're doing yourself a disservice. She's got some huge things coming up, folks. Huge. If you're not paying attention to Tiffany Neves, who's currently in the NWA, if you're not paying attention to her, you're failing. She is incredible. Have you seen? Go check out Tiffany Neves and her body of work right now. She just came off a feud with Charmel in Reality of Wrestling. She's holding belts on belts on belts. She's all over the place with NWA and what have you. Tiffany Neves is legitimately the best thing going today right now. Fantastic. Layla Gray just released a new album. Great friend of the show. Longtime friend. Fantastic. Beautiful. Talented. Her husband, Luke Curtis, he's running a race, raising money to do that. Definitely check out his social media and all that good stuff there. Got a lot of positive things going on. Great people who've been featured on this show and who are doing great things. And you wonderful folks have been listening all these years and supporting these talented people and supporting the show. And I can't thank you enough. I really appreciate it. And you know that I've lightened up on giving my opinion. I save it for these moments here, and then I just hit you with it. You know how that goes. My man Danny G, he's always saying, Duke, we need more Duke. We need to hear more from you. And I'm like, Danny, don't worry. We got to build anticipation a little bit. Shout out to Danny G. That episode with the Savannah Bananas, through the roof. Danny G finally generated more listeners than his kids. That's amazing. That's amazing. So shout out to Danny G. That's my boy. But seriously, I really do appreciate you folks. I know you noticed some of the archived material from through the years. I've been putting up different clips and what have you on YouTube, so keep checking those out. Reminder of some of the great folks. Listen, I've interviewed so many people, even I forget. I got to go back. Oh, yeah, I did interview so-and-so. So, it's fun. It's fun. But it's okay to have an opinion. It's okay to express what you don't like. It certainly is okay to express what you do like. But no matter what, there is a line that doesn't need to be crossed, folks. I'm going to leave you with this. Death is forever. That's the end of it. We should never, ever, ever celebrate death. We celebrate life. We give compassion when people transition. But to be so rotten that you can't find it in your heart to understand why people would express condolences, I don't know about that. You gotta take a look at yourself and figure out what's going on with you. Something ain't right. Gotta tweak that. That's my opinion. It's okay if you disagree. I'm okay with that. I'm gonna be the first person to tell you I don't care. And I don't care if you don't like what I have to say. It is what it is. Anyway, as always, be kind to yourselves and be kind to others. Catch you next week for Devon and the Duke. Stay tuned for the next episode. Duke Loves Rasslin. That's right.
Strictly for the culture every day. Stepping style in your unique way. Patterns and colors so defined. All about the perfect line. Be yourself, let your spirit fly. In this fashion, you'll touch the sky. Strictly for the culture, brand so fine. Dress to impress and show your shine. Strictly for the culture, every day. Step in style in your unique way.
Visit www.strictlyfortheculture.ca.
This is Tony Schiavone, and we're desperately out of time on Duke Loves Wrestling.